Thank you so much for joining our online conversation on youth and opportunity. For the first time in decades, people who are younger than 35 are less optimistic about the future than those that are older than 55. What should we do to help our future generations thrive?
Well, by the time I'm done with college, I'm probably going to have a ton of student loan debt. So even with a college degree, I may not be able to get ahead.
We don't have the good blue-collar jobs that our parents had, and compared to other countries, American students rank 30th in math and 19th in science. Our schools aren't preparing people to succeed in the work world based on technology and automation.
Young people of color, especially young Black men, face an uphill battle when it comes to being successful. I don't really see anything changing for people who look like me until we really address systemic racism and poverty.
I agree. And 1 out of every 6 kids in this country lives in poverty. 3/4 of those children come from households of color. If there's going to be success for young children, there has to be more equity.
Where's the government going to find the money to help young people get ahead when the country is up to its ears in debt? We're living on borrowed money, and we're leaving those bills for our next generation to pay.
Okay, so what should we do to help our young people succeed?
Well, automation and foreign competition will keep on reducing the number of jobs here in the U.S., and the jobs that are still here will require at least a college degree, and more often advanced degrees or training.
And that means even more student loans.
Maybe we could have something where student loans are paid off if graduates give a year of service in a poor community or school.
I could see that, but then that means kids with money will just bypass that year of service and the rest of us will be a year behind in our careers.
Improving K-12 schools would go a long way toward helping young people be more successful. We need smaller classes, more emphasis on STEM subjects, and there should be more remedial help for students that are falling behind.
We also need more mental health and social service programs to help kids before they become young adults. Succeeding in school is about the last thing you can think about when you don't even have a safe place to live.
More teachers and services would be wonderful, but you have to pay for them. That means higher taxes, more debt, or cutting other programs. I don't think it all comes down to throwing more money at the problem. No, we need parents and communities to help teach young people to be more resilient and self-sufficient.
Increasing property taxes, especially in poor neighborhoods, would be a real drawback. But I think it's hard for parents to help their kids with much of anything when they're working all the time and barely getting by.
Does everyone have the same opportunity to succeed? And if not, what should we do to make sure everyone gets a fair chance?
I don't believe all young people have an equal chance to succeed, and that's wrong. Our country depends on its young people to be innovative and keep the economy strong.
Clearly, people of color don't have equal opportunity, and it's been that way in this country forever, whether we're talking about slavery or redlining in housing or being targeted by the police.
We're also more likely to work low-wage jobs. Raising the minimum wage would at least help some lower-income families have more stable housing and nutritious food.
But to be the devil's advocate, small companies might have to employ fewer people, which somewhat defeats the slightly higher wages.
Well, since I'm a teacher, I always like to come back to education. I like the idea of making community colleges free.
Yeah, we could also eliminate standardized testing because it disadvantages minority and low-income students. I guess the drawback for schools is that they'd have to find other ways to assess educational proficiencies or other qualities that would make them likely to succeed in college.
None of these things address the big picture of systemic racism.
And people who don't like affirmative action policies call them reverse discrimination.
How do you eliminate racism from the hearts and minds of human beings? I mean, when we figure out that one, a lot of young people will have a better chance in life.
You've brought up a lot of different ideas. Let's focus for a moment on economic security when it comes to younger generations.
Well, graduates are in debt, our families are in debt, and our country is really in debt. That doesn't seem at all secure.
My generation doesn't like that. So a lot of people like me think we need to rein in the federal budget and reduce deficit spending.
The drawback is that reducing the deficit means increasing taxes and cutting programs. That's a difficult balancing act.
Well, one answer might be to invest in renewable energy.
I agree with that. Everyone I know is talking about climate change and what the world will be like when we're raising families.
A clean energy industry would provide more white-collar and blue-collar jobs, even though everyone's electric bills would probably go up for a while to pay for the new technology.
We saw what happened when we didn't have enough PPEs during the pandemic. It would help the economy and our future national security if more products Americans use were made here in the U.S.
It would be good to bring more manufacturing back. But less international trade will also mean fewer choices and maybe higher prices. Are we willing to live with that?
Each generation in this country has left a better nation for their children.
But it feels like our generation is inheriting a fixer-upper country.
We've only looked at a few possible solutions, and there are no easy answers.
The future of our young people is at stake.
So let's start talking.